Hello and welcome, everyone. If I were to ask you right now, do you have the ability to master your life and destiny right now, and on and on and on, and thus also live healthily, wealthily, and in a state of absolute maximum safety and serenity? The answer should be yes, because I'm going to show you how now. So what's happening is that all of life is cyclical, and at any given point in time, any particular person is in certain life cycles. The shortest one of these, as it applies to everybody, changes every 3 hours. The next one changes every 3 hours, 25 minutes. The next one changes every 3.5 days. The next one changes every 52 days. The next one changes every 7 years. And then this goes from 0 to 144 years of earthly human existence. And then you have the soul personality that remains generally the same, yet progresses in a good way, hopefully, during your physical earthly existence of 144 years, right? So there you have about 9 cycles of life that you're in right now. Do you actually know what ones you're in right now? I know what ones I'm in right now, and so should you. Look, first of all, it's a daily period of E on a Friday afternoon from 1:42 to 5:08 p.m. Right now it's 2:39 p.m. We're in an E period. Okay, that's the daily period of 3 hours, 25 minutes. Then you have, and we actually have, a high tide at the nearest maritime port in 3 hours and about 40 minutes from now. So, why is that important? Because in 40 minutes, when it's only 3 hours to the next high tide at the nearest maritime port, that puts us in a positive short lunar unit of 3 hours till the tide peaks, and then it starts to decrease again. For 3 hours, it's going to be negative, then it's going to be positive for 3 hours again, and it's going to be low tide. Okay. Then, for example, the lunar unit that's long of 3.5 days right now is still negative till Saturday at about 10:09 a.m. So now what's going on is that at this very moment, while I speak here, it's about 3 hours, 40 minutes till the next high tide. That leaves us 40 minutes of a remaining current existing negative short lunar unit, combined with the ongoing 3.5 day negative long lunar unit that we're in till Saturday at 10:09 a.m. Thus, it is in fact a double negative lunar unit and a time frame right now for the next 40 minutes. Now, why is that important to know? Because, look, based on what the lunar units are, whether they're negative or positive, the providential energy that powers the entire universe and that goes through phases alternating between negative and positive within this earth human and life experience in this heavens and earth plane as we are existing right now, right? Created in the image of God and after his own likeness, and as human beings, right? The crowning of creation, and also mastering our life and our destiny right now as I speak, right? Work in progress. Pay attention. Gain big from it, okay? As we're doing this, everything that's happening right now, everything that's going on right now, the way that I feel, whether I feel like going out here or laying in bed, etc., how my psyche is, how I view life. Am I optimistic? Am I happy? Yeah, that can be activated with free will, yet there's a reason why everything is how it is right now. And that one of the most foremost and interesting and scientifically absolutely proven explanations for it is the lunar units that we're going through right now. Because, like I said, the energy in the universe goes through phases in this system. You can see it by the moon, you can see it by day, night, male, female, negative, positive, full moon, empty moon, full moon, empty moon, new moon, right? All this stuff. It's not anything other than that the energy that powers the universe is going through phases alternating between negative and positive. And these phases, these are what is a combination of, foremostly right now, it's relevant in that you're always mapping out the long lunar unit of 3.5 days. It alternates between negative and positive, and the short lunar unit of 12 hours. It makes itself visible as the tides. The nearest maritime port, we can get a tide chart. So this way you can see that, for example, let's say, and this is going to be the case here in about 35 minutes or so, there's going to be a high tide within 3 hours. 3 hours before a high tide is a positive short lunar unit. So then what happens is you combine that short with the long negative till Saturday right now. So then you know for the next 3 hours, it's a neutral lunar unit. So what happens then? Things are neutral. The energy, the way that you are motivated, how you feel, how everything goes. Yes, yes, no, etc. Action, reaction, positive, negative results, all that stuff is going to be relatively neutral. You'll ask somebody for a pencil. And, whereas in a positive, double positive lunar unit, they'll just give you a new pencil. Or if somebody asks you for a pencil, you will, whereas in a double positive, you'll give them a new pencil out of your bag and it won't even, So what I'm saying is that why is that the case? These simple examples, they show to us that, well, actually what's happening is that there's two types of, so there's two phases, like two types of energy that this periodically perfectly geometrized since the beginning of creation, system and energy that powers the universe goes through. It's either negative or positive. Energetically positive, male, masculine, life-giving energy that gives an automatic increase, or a negative energy that is energetically feminine and more resting in nature. Almost like a cat laying on the couch, taking a really sweet nap, versus the cat up, jumping and running around and chasing, birds in the yard. It's that type of thing. So the thing is, now if you pay attention to this, what happens is you can coordinate your operation to be highly effective. Almost like a captain of a ship who's going from a port to an island or another port on the other side of the ocean. Let's take the island example though. Going from the beach to the island in a boat. And you go out when the tide goes out, you get carried out safely. Then you return when the tide's coming in again off that island to the land again, and you land safely. It's just the same principle. That's the exact same thing we're doing here. Now, just for your information, even though I use these examples, I am not a sailor or anything like that. In fact, I do not like going on water very much. There's an explanation for that. First of all, I am a land clean animal, like a human being. So a clean animal, right? That's a land. I like to be on land. I like being in the water, yet where I can safely navigate and operate. So those of you though that are in like maritime business, you probably get what I'm saying here. This is just a basic fact, and I probably will be correct with what I say. And now here's the thing. These examples, they are in fact showing something that goes on, whether it's on the ocean or on land. And what it is tidal potential. Tidal potential, folks, is a very important subject to be investigated, identified, and mapped wherever you are. If you're at the beach, yeah, no problem. You got a tide chart for that beach, for that port. But what if you're on land and the same forces that create tidal potential, they operate and they're effectively operational on land too? Now, why is this relevant? There's no body of water here. There's no ocean here. This is a forest on land, 300 miles inland from the nearest ocean. Great. The reason why it's important is because if you can trace the tidal potential, you can see very accurately what is going on in terms of what the lunar units are right where you're operating, right? So there are those of you out there who have the technical ability to make an app that actually generates something like a tide chart showing when there would theoretically be a high tide and when there would be a low tide, let's say for a 30-day time period for any GPS location. If somebody out there could program this, you would be doing such a great service to humanity, because you would be enabling us to easily navigate much more effectively in practice, and others also to practice and navigate effectively and utilize this for the process of self-mastery and assisting humanity with realizing its full divine potential and collectively benefiting therefrom in a legitimate way. So if you happen to be a technical expert, if you could design an app that is a tidal, so what it does is you punch in wherever you are on Earth, you type in your GPS coordinates, and then you push like a button that says generate tide chart. So just because that's the model, you get a tide chart whether you're at the ocean or you're on land, because all we're interested in is seeing the tidal potential when it peaks and when it reaches its low point. So theoretically, you could simulate it the same way as you would have a tide chart, though it should be for any location, whether there's an ocean there or not, whether it's inland or not. Anyone who does this will have contributed a massive amount to the best thing happening with all of life in the universe out there, because it's very difficult to calculate this out. I've tried this. I had algebra and I hated it. And so somebody out there is a tech expert. Take this upon you lightly. It would be greatly appreciated. And I'm